Hello guys, my name is ColinStonks. Welcome to my first replay analysis on Advanced Wars by Web. I'm a long-term player of the game. I picked up the first game on the Game Boy Advance back in 2000 when it released. I played through that, it was great. Favourite game, next to Golden Sun on the cartridge. Advanced Wars 2, fantastic as well. And also Dual Strike and Days of Ruin. So I've played all of them. I didn't know that Advanced Wars by Web existed until about 2019. I think that's when I made my account, and I didn't play much on it. I've only just started playing Global League this year. And it's been going great. I've been having a great time. It's really fun. Everyone who I've met is extremely friendly and very helpful. There's a lot of good community members who make content for the community, which is just fantastic to see, and you guys seem to love it. So I thought the more the merrier, you know, the more people putting their videos out there and explaining their gameplay and helping newer players get into it, the better. So hopefully someone finds some value in this video. I did make it specifically for my friend Prometheus, who I have played against before. He was probably my second or third game in the Global League, and he absolutely schooled me in a fog match. It was a really interesting game, but I just kind of into the Neo tank into his bomber, which I knew where his bomber was. It was a huge blunder on my behalf. Ever since then, we've played a lot of games together and spent quite a lot of time chatting about the game. So this one's for you, Prometheus. I hope you enjoy it. So today we've got myself on Eagle. As you can see, his attack stats here: air units plus 15 attack, plus 10 defense, minus 2 to their fuel consumption per day, and rubbish naval units, but that's fine because we haven't got any navy on this map. Against Olaf, so Olaf's pretty basic in terms of his day-to-day. He doesn't have one, apart from his units are unaffected by snow, and he's nerfed in rain. But he has a very strong superpower. He can basically make it snow across the entire map and deal 2 damage to all my units. Eagle, on the other hand, gets Lightning Strike as his superpower, which is just fantastic. It allows you to move all of your vehicles twice in one turn, so pretty busted CA actually when it comes down to it. I know he's got his pros and his cons. On a big map like this, I think Eagle is insanely good, but so's Olaf, so it's really a toss-up between who I would pick. I would happily play either of these two against each other. I think it's quite a fair and balanced match, but let's get into it, hey? I should note this is a tier 2 game as well, so it's very important to mention. So I'll bring up the tier list so you guys can see who's banned and who we can play. Yeah, so this map is called Reaching Xanadu. It's a very big. Well, it's not a huge map, but it's got a lot of like corridors, essentially. Lots of big open areas for some good engagements, some good fighting over these central properties. You see the 2 bases up the top, one at the bottom, and then the airport in the middle, and that's mirrored on my opponent's side. So it's a fun map for really pushing fights in certain areas, but you can reinforce the weak side. So the weak side is the side with the 1 base, in my opinion. You can reinforce this weak side with units from your southern base here at the top, so they can come down through this forest and across the shoal here and get into this area. So in the replays I've seen of this map, a lot of the higher level players tend to actually smash units down here quite aggressively and force fights around the comm towers. It seems to be the preferred approach, so who am I to go against the trend? But I'm quite a feisty player. I quite enjoy taking skirmishes and forcing my opponent to make bad decisions. So we'll see how my game strategy plays out on this map. This central part of the map, it gets very scrappy. There's these contested properties in the middle. I would say these are probably 2. You got these 2 properties here that are contested, and then this one, and its equivalent of this one. So these can swing quite widely in terms of who gets them, and as a result it's quite easy to overextend on each side. It's very easy to overextend into your opponent's sort of HQ area. So just got to be very wary of that. Another thing to point out is this mountainous region here in the middle. You've got a chain of mountains around the middle, which is good fun for artillery engagements. You can set up some really good positions. The terrain around the mountains isn't great from the sides where you would want to be shooting your artillery from, so you do have to use extra caution when doing that, especially because air units are so strong and they can attack over these mountains to hit. So leads to quite some interesting developments on this map. But generally you'll just see each player capture their comm tower, I'll get mine, he'll get his, and then we'll start putting units into the middle and trying to control these central properties and just outpace, outvalue and outtrade each other. So yeah, that seems to be it. So let's get into the game. So myself as Eagle, I'm going to change this to Brown Desert. Mainly because I just like Brown Desert, but also they're a lot easier to see on the replay. The black hole units, when you click weight with them, they sort of go a darker grey, and I find that harder to distinguish between the orange and the darker orange. So hopefully that looks good for you guys. So yeah, let's go. So day one, he starts with his infantry because he's going second. I'll build 2 infantry on my bases. Boom, boom. And he'll move towards his base, which you always want to do, generally speaking. I think it's not advised to skip this base. You really want to be getting units, as many units out you can as possible at all times, I think, especially on a bigger map like this where walling's going to be important. So here I go for this property, and I go for this property, which is totally normal. He's done the same. We're kind of just mirroring each other, standard stuff, blah, blah, blah. So I'm moving up. I really want to grab this airport early if I can. Being Eagle, obviously I'll get the better air units, but it's just another thing to think about. And I kind of want him to build an early anti-air. If he does that, I don't need to build as many air units, and I can just build tanks to counter it. So trying to get in his head a bit. And here I immediately push forward for this property. Kind of, I don't know. Is it pointless? I would argue not. I like the fact that I can capture this or here, so I can go north or east here to start securing properties that are a little bit further out from where I should be, which will allow me to get an early foothold. And I just really want to defend down here for the early game. I don't want to take fights on my weak side because I'll have less units, and you know, if I start losing on my weak side, I have to bring stuff down from the top, and that's ill-advised. You'll be wasting a lot of money just trying to zone your opponent out from capturing your HQ. You might as well stop them from getting there in the first place if you can. So we'll just shuffle on up. This guy, yeah, so he slides onto this property, and we're going to start capping that. I found this interesting, this tank build here from Olaf. I personally wouldn't build it here. I'd probably build it up the top. He knows that I'm going to capture this turn. Next turn, I'm going to like fully capture it, and his tank will only be 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. So yeah, I mean, I guess it allows him to put pressure on my weak side, but I probably would have built a weak side tank if I was him, and just help him, you know, secure his weak side. It's a tough one. I can see why he would do that. So the tank comes out, he starts going towards his comm tower, gets the caps, locks them all in. Start making some money. You get 1,000 Advanced Force Buckaroos per turn for each property you own in your upkeep, essentially. So as you can see, I've got 7,000 properties, he's got 9,000 properties. You've got unit count here as well, so he's got 13, I've got 11 unit value, and this is my current funds, essentially, that you can spend. So we get capped up, boom, 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 get those 3 caps done. Start pushing out, grab these, get the comm tower, because we are going to see some early engagements on this map. It's inevitable. And I'm going in for the middle now. He's doing the same. The early game on this map, I don't think there's much you can do wrong, but you really do need to push out as quickly as you can. For example, I'm never going to get this, and I'm not going to get this now, so I just have to concede both of these contested properties here. So now my best bet is to just go for the middle and try and take these more, you know, contested properties, or or look to trade this one back if I can, and force a fight onto this, because I'm going to give him it. So he builds an artillery. 2 artillery. Double artillery for the man. Olaf artillery, they're just fine. They're great. I think he kind of... Against Eagle, probably not so good, because I'm so reliant on my lightning strike that if I see an opportunity to kill the artillery, I'll do it in 1 turn, so they won't really have a good time to respond. Good chance to respond, sorry, but it's just the way it is. Here I go for a base skip to get a helicopter. I don't know why I did this. I think it's one of those things where I haven't seen an anti-air. I know he hasn't got his airport. I just want to get a helicopter out. I know I'm like skipping an infantry, but I'm feeling pretty good up here. I've got 3, which will be enough to wall anything here. And I'm probably going to build an artillery to help support this anti-air, so this helicopter. So should be good in the long run, right? He's going to pay off. This helicopter he's going to do some flying. So he goes for this, which on the face of it looks like it should be mine, but it's fine. I don't mind giving that up. He sets his units up in a way so that if I interrupt this, I definitely lose an infantry in response, so absolutely no point in me attacking into this. Just let him have it. And he grabs his anti-air, and he puts it on his strong side. So it's just gonna zone my helicopter out of this area entirely. I really don't want to be trading helicopters. I want to build up my unit count, as you'll see with Eagle. The more units you have, the better. You just have to keep them alive. So here I go for a cheeky little maneuver. You know, just block this off. He can kill this infantry, but he can't hit this artillery, so it's completely pointless for him to do so. I start capping my lab as well. I don't know why. I quite enjoy just capturing the labs. I feel like they you just need some scientists on your team every now and again. They do absolutely nothing, but I don't know. It looks cool. Scientists in bandanas. So he finishes capping his comm tower. He starts going for the middle here as well to mirror me. Brings in the anti-air, and it's all pretty chill at this stage. There's not a whole lot going on. We're just sort of developing. He doesn't go for his lab, so he doesn't want any science, which I find interesting. Science is good. So the double tank. So generally when you see a double tank, like I really want to get another helicopter now, or an artillery, to just lock down this area and help support this tank, because I've only got that one guy. I don't think mechs are viable on this map, so not going to be great. Get the free hit off here on the infantry. Very nice. Very nice indeed. That's going to slow him down tremendously in the middle here, and that's exactly what I want. And that's why this helicopter, I think, even though I base skipped for it, like, it's worth because this happened, because I managed to get this off. That's delayed him by 1,000, so technically we're equal, but it's going to delay him by more than 1,000. I mean, he'll join cap, I think, but you know, my lost infantry, yes, he gets an extra unit, but he loses the income for a turn, so swings and roundabouts. Skip my lab, absolutely. There we go, defensive here, of course. And yeah, so here's the other helicopter I'm talking about, just helicopters and tanks for now. Looking good, looking cheeky. So he goes for this as well. He's getting both of the contested side properties. And he sits his artillery on the road because nothing can hit it, so no fear. No fear for the man. Artillery set up here just to really stop me. He didn't join cap here, so actually now that base skip I think's paid for itself twice over, so definitely worth. If he had combined there, again, it would have been worth. I would have delayed him for a turn, and it would have cost him 1,000 to combine his infantry. Obviously, he would have got refunded 300, but just, you know, interesting early game developments that I'm just doing this on the fly, honestly. I did one recording of this video, and my audio completely broke, so I had to do it again. So this is the second take, but you know, we'll focus on the important things. Here, I find this move's interesting. What I'm doing here is, so I'm capping, but I know I can continue capping this. I go for this infantry. Now I know I can lose this infantry, but if he shoots it with the artillery, that's great, because the artillery is stuck in position, and I can start you know, putting pressure on with these tanks and bring this heli up. You know, if he attacks it with an infantry here and finishes it here, then I kill. Basically, I think I trade 2 infantry for 1, and I'm almost guaranteed to stop this cap as well as a result, because it forces this guy to continue capping. It's fairly interesting. Ideally, I want this to come in here and hit the infantry, but we'll see. Sometimes doing like crazy stuff like this, like I know the running joke is the Mang's infantry, but if you can do that early game and make your opponent think that you're maybe a little bit reckless or a bit too aggressive, then they're gonna offer trades like that more often, and eventually it will be the favourable one that you want. So just an interesting thing to think about. Again, I do it the same down here. I'm offering a hit on this tank, but I'm covering it with the artillery, so I got a lot of units down here. He would be pretty ill-advised to attack into this. And we grab an anti-air as well. So now it's Boeg's turn. It's now turn 10. So we've got a good mix of units on the board for each player. We've got tanks, artillery, helicopters, anti-air. He does grab this property. And he starts going for this contested one as well. Although this one's not, these aren't contested in my opinion so much. I think this is the contested chain. We'll see. I feel like this is a great map because it can change. I've seen so many different like ways this game has played out on this map. Ideally, I think what you want to do is you want to force your opponent into a bad investment and get them to build like really expensive units on their weak side. You know, like rockets or a mega tank, for example, something crazy like that. And then you just bring all your forces north and pressure the strong side. That's what I had a Hawk matchup, and that's what the Hawk player did against me. I was playing Kindle, and it was like my 4th game, and I didn't really know about the tier list at the time, so I got schooled pretty hard in that match. But yeah, that's what he did to me. He forced me to build like terrible indirects down here, and then he just like moved all his units away, and obviously just smashed me in the north side of the map. So we'll see here though. I mean, he's, you know, he starts moving up into the middle, and I think central control on this map is really important. You really want to lock down these properties in the middle and try and take these engagements where you can, where they're fun and gonna give you good trades essentially. What's also interesting about fighting over here is if you build helicopters, they can't easily reinforce this tree line. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, look, they're 3 turns away from reinforcing at this tree line. So if I can drag him into a fight here, my helicopters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My helicopters can fight in this tree line, so I do want this. I do want a fight to happen up here if I can get it to go that way, because my helicopters are better than his, and I'm closer to being able to back up my units. So we go for the caps. Pick up that infantry. And I'm not going to let him have this. These can be contested, and it is in this case, as I said at the beginning of the game. But we don't want to let him have everything. You can't give away too much, and stopping this cap as well. Delaying this cap has been huge. This was a really, really big come up for me, so you love to see that. Just wall off the artillery here. Get a couple tanks, get double tank infantry. Just want to keep the units pumping, you know, the thing about tanks here is, like, worst case scenario, they just decimate an infantry, but best case scenario, you know, you're going to kill an anti-air or an artillery, so they're just really handy for supporting your helicopters. These are like your AAA bonds, and and the tanks are, you know, the bees. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Someone get Michael Burry in here to explain the big short of Advance Wars. So here we go. If he gets a good shot off here, flobs a massive loogie on my infantry. Boom, puts it on 1. and the helicopter comes in and cleans it up, so, you know, it's pretty decent. It's pretty good for him. Of course, I get a hit off here, but the anti-air is covering it, so interesting thing to note. But look at the positioning right here. So he's really coming up into me. I think he wants to coalesce his forces here, and just sort of force me out of the middle. Maybe look to capture this property. I think he really wants to secure this one, which is why he's threatening this side of the map. And as Olaf, that's kind of what you want to do. You want to fight until you get your superpower, and then you can like isolate a bunch of units in the snow. So I take this trade. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Get me in there, because I'm going to hit an artillery. And this is exactly what I want. I want to take these engagements early. Kind of looking to overload him here, so... offer him, you know, give him 2 helicopters to shoot at. Like, what one do you want, man? Take this one, take this one. This attack really doesn't make sense unless I do this as well, and what I'm doing here is I'm just basically getting... I'm making sure that I'm going to have stronger units on the turn after this one. So he either has to back off or like sacrifice a unit to keep fighting. So it's pretty aggressive, but I think it's warranted in this case because I just had a lot of good attacks. And I'm not sure if that was a mistake on his behalf. I think it might have been. I don't know if he intended to give me so many good hits, or if he was trying to drag me into a fight. This was a bad move, in my opinion. I probably shouldn't have gone for this trade here. I should have just walled up for the artillery, because I'm basically giving this anti-air something to shoot at. You know, 6 move, it's coming up here, it's killing this helicopter. So now I can either lose both helis here or this one up here. So not great on my behalf in retrospect, but at the same time I do really want to start building charge up, and the only way I'm going to do that is by losing units. So kind of don't hate just throwing helicopters at him. So yeah, he just takes that one down, kills my infantry on the mountain here, kills my other infantry. This is a pretty brutal counter-attack from him, but I am going to grab this property, so... Fantastic. He still hasn't caught his lab yet. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, it's just kind of sad, really. Poor helicopter. Just got liquidated. So there's the trade there. And this is good for him. I need to bring this tank back. At least I'm going to capture this property. It was all worth it, I keep telling myself. And he's kind of like walled this tank in now, so... An interesting position for that tank, of course. What was that? I missed that one. Oh, is he building? Oh no. Tank comes in, shoots the infantry, tank. Just basically walling up down here, reinforcing his position. Really making it tough if I want to continue the fight, which I do. I do want to continue the fight here. Even though it doesn't look great, you know, I'm going to pick up this anti-air, I can pick up this one as well. And then I've all of a sudden got 2 helicopters with no response, apart from, you know, up here. But it's quite easy to avoid the anti-air on this map. You've got these forest tiles that slow them down by 2 moves, so... Anti-air are kind of... Well, tanks, ground units in general are... They're the bread and butter on this map, but you can play around them with helicopters using the terrain to your advantage, so... Just something to think about. Bring this guy back here. I just don't love the position. I think he's going to get his Winter Fury next turn anyway, so I might as well get it in a position to heal up. And here again, I don't attack this infantry on this property because if I do so, it makes it super easy for him to break this. Say I shoot this infantry and put it on 6 or whatever, and I go to 6. He then heals up next turn, so he's then on 8, so I'll be 6, he'll be on 8. He shoots me, and then he hits me with the anti-air, or whatever, it could be the 6 HP boy. This anti-air can then come in and kill this, and then he gets to kill my artillery, so... Shooting there is kind of pointless. As it turns out, he will use his superpower next turn, which I did account for, but I'm essentially forcing him to use it, if that makes sense. Like, if you want to take that trade, now he has to use his superpower, which is good, because I'm not sure using his superpower just to kill artillery is worth it, but we'll see what he does. So again, yeah, just join up that infantry there just to make that wall a little bit stronger if I can. good. It wasn't a roll. I mean, I knew it was going to go on to 1, but still pretty good. And then we're expecting the Winter Fury this turn, so I kind of build less units. I just go infantry, 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 helicopter. Just so it doesn't drain my funds, because I'll take 2 damage from the snow, and then they'll all get healed up, so I don't want to just spend loads of money and then have to pay even more money to keep it alive. And there's really no urgency here. I can back off, which I definitely will do this turn. I know that I'm going to lose a bunch of units, but it's fine. It's fine. I mean, that one kind of hurt. It is his turn, so... And he went second, he went after me, so he should be on... well, he will be on about 106,000, and I'm on 101, so unit value, so he will have the value advantage at the end of this turn. But yeah, Winter Fury comes in, absolutely decimates me. Woo. Yeah, that dies. And thinking about this move, I know this anti-air doesn't have really any good attacks, but I think this helicopter is probably... Oh, I guess he can't kill this anti-air easily, so attacking with this helicopter is pointless because he'll lose the helicopter in the next turn. So yeah, I can see why he did the anti-air here. Bad luck roll for that infantry. This poor guy just gets absolutely smashed by that artillery. And here he goes for it. He actually had a nice calc here, so 3 HP anti-air onto the 8 HP infantry, and then followed by the full HP infantry on the base, on the city. Nice, brings his anti-air up as expected, and then boom, manages to clean out the artillery. So that kind of sucked, but I was ready for it. I kind of knew it was going to happen. He's just what are you doing, man? Just capture the lab. I can't believe it. Just, yeah. This looked rough. I remember coming back to my computer, seeing this game, and yeah, I'm sure anyone who's played this game knows what I'm talking about. But that feeling when you look at it, you're like, oh, I can't wait to see my game, and then you're just like, oh no, you've just been obliterated. But it's not too bad, and I knew it was going to happen, so I kind of planned for this, because I still got some pretty good units down here. 2 tanks. This tank lived. Helicopter. It's looking rough. I'm at 66k to 110, but you know, he's got like half my value. But we're still fighting up here, so you know, it's great. And when I see this medium tank, I'm really happy. Like, this is what I want to see from Olaf. It's quite easy to kill medium tanks with Eagle, especially with your artillery. You can lightning strike them and move them and then shoot with them. So you know, medium tanks, heavier units are quite easy to deal with. They're also very slow, so it's going to take him a while to get any sort of pressure into this northern area. So I can really capitalise on that if I play patiently and play smart. So we just clean up some stuff, just heal up my units. Here I'm like, I know he can hit this tank, but this tank here can like move up and hit this, but he has to kill these 2 infantry. And if he wants to do that, that's fine, because he'll kill these 2 little, you know, these crippled, like they've got like no feet or something. One of them's got his leg blown off. You know, these guys are having a rough time. And if he wants to kill them for 2 healthy infantry, that's fine, because I will happily trade 2 weak infantry for 2 full infantry. We get the helicopter in, and this was a good turn for building. Look at this. It's because we saved some money last turn, but we get another helicopter, a tank, and an anti-air. So here you just want to set myself up. I know he can hit this, but that's just crazy if he does that. He can't get an artillery into this forest to support it, so it's not even worth. And he really doesn't want to sacrifice this anti-air because he's only got 1 in the middle. His 2 copters are being really passive. I think, yeah, so this guy is this guy. Moved all the way down here, which I don't know. I don't know if I would have done that. Yeah, I probably would have kept it, or rotated it a little bit closer to the middle here, just to give it some more attacks in case I do use my lightning strike. Having it down here is not going to solve anything. It's just kind of doing nothing, but whatever. Medium tank comes in, kills my infantry. And here, so he is going for it, and that's totally fine. This is what we want. I think maybe he looked at this and thought, oh yeah, he's got full charge bar, so if I attack him now, I'm going to overcharge his power bar, which is essentially when you have full power, you can't get any more charge, so you're losing units and getting nothing back for it. Usually in Advance Wars, you get charge from taking damage and dealing damage, and in this case I think he's kind of looking at this and going, well, it's a pretty good trade because I've got some good attacks up here. He's, slams his infantry, hits the tank, so I can see why he did it. But I personally, as Olaf, I'd be scared in this situation, and I wouldn't be giving away 3 units, that's for sure. And this tank as well, he's just getting really aggressive with it, which I don't love. He should see here that I've got these 2 headies here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, they're in range. They can hit this tank, so I was really happy when I saw his turn here. I knew that there was a lot I could do. I had a lot of potential with the lightning strike. It was just about figuring out the best way to do it, as is the case with Eagle. So he gets another medium here as well. So I just don't want to give these things any value if I can avoid it. So yeah, here we go. So I see this. I pick this guy up. I mean, that looks crazy, doesn't it? Hitting an infantry on a city for no reason. But I am Eagle, so it's gonna do. It'll do more than that, guys. Don't worry. This helicopter comes up. So yeah, we're just getting in position here, essentially setting up to really punish this attack of his. So kill his anti-air, kill his infantry. These are the 2 full HP infantry that he's going to lose now, which is exactly what I wanted. That's a good trade, I think. It's a trading up, I think, as they refer to in the Industria. Lightning strike here, so that's my superpower, and all of my vehicles get to move again. I get 10-10, so plus 10 attack and defense. Boom, this comes in, absolutely slams that tank. We get the finish here. This tank comes all the way up and finishes this infantry. I know the value. It's generally a terrible idea, but these helicopters are out of range, so is this tank, so this is kind of just a freebie. This tank has just attacked infantry this turn, but it's kind of worth it because it lives. And it takes out a unit and damages another, so pretty happy with that. Yeah, there goes his other one. Smash that infantry. And this anti-air is dead as well, so now I'm, in a very commanding position. We managed to get the luck roll on the helicopter. Very commanding position in the north here. It does feel bad that I'm giving him charge here, and this is one of the things, Eagle versus Olaf, is, knowing when to use your super. Do you want to use it in the snow when he won't get any charge for your retaliation, or do you wait? And I'm a waiter. I personally like to play a bit patiently and wait for that good opportunity. I don't care if he gets another Winter Fury, because you can kind of play around them if your positioning's good. So it's not a surprise when he does it. Whereas Eagle, I think Lightning Drive, the best thing about it is its surprise factor and just the sheer aggression. If you see a very crazy line or get a good luck roll, you can get a lot out of it. Yeah, so it goes down the tank, bring the artillery in. This is quite a late artillery up here, but I'm kind of glad I did build it late. If I built this early, given the amount of brawling that I've been forcing up here, I think if I built an artillery, he would have just stalled this area out. And I wouldn't have got as much charge as I did, so I'm happy getting this late. Fine by me. Bring the artillery up here. Antillery. Anti-air. I've never heard it called antillery before. I might just refer to antillery as This is an antillery and this is an antillery. Okay, that's what we're calling them from now on. Because then you just can't get it wrong, right? This lab, I swear he captures it at some point. There's no benefit to capturing it, but I think he does eventually. I think, actually, yeah, for the property count, you can win if you capture the lab and then a few of their properties as well, so In some scenarios, owning the lab's actually pretty good. I just generally would always capture it. Why wouldn't you? Just looks weird being grey and sad and unsciencey. Medium tank comes in. And he's just being very traditional about this, you know, units coming out here and just going west and then north. Units coming out here going west and south. He's not really utilising this central pathway here. Other than for infantry moves. This Neo-tank as well. Man, I am... I love to see the Neo-tank here because I can counter it really easily with just one unit, which is the bomber, and I can essentially just, as long as I play correctly, I can essentially make this unit useless. Like, my objective of this game now is to just make sure that that Neo-tank is the worst investment of Olaf's life. Just really want to make him, you know, punish him for spending loads of money on these expensive units. Make sure that he's not getting good trades with them or exerting too much pressure. Helicopter and tank come in here, we pick that guy up. And here again, this is a crazy attack, I know, like, cause the only reason I do this is because he has no tanks in the area. He's got these helicopters, but I'm not too fussed about those. Because I have anti-air backup and I got like more and better helicopters than him, so if he had tanks here, I would never attack into this, but you know, I see that his retaliation is going to be comparatively weak here, so I get a free shot off on this artillery, antillery, and bring my medium tank up, which I've just snuck onto the battlefield as well, because seeing this, I need to match it, even if it's just for defensive purposes. So we get our own medium tank, and yeah, start threatening this now. This is, I know that I'm pranging him out about this. I kind of want him to like keep putting resources into trying to capture this or stopping me from having it, and that's fine because I've got the income advantage, so I will be making a little bit more money than him, and I can go for this cap now as well, which is a bit of an oversight on his behalf. Maybe he should have left an infantry down here hanging just to like be able to pick, like, to shoot this guy or to shoot any infantry that are doing this, because this is essentially free now, so that's great. And I get the bomber in response to the Neo tank. You just gotta, and the double base skip as well. I mean, ugh, brutal. I'm sure a lot of you are cringing right now as you see this, but I just really needed the bomber. To be honest, in retrospect, I could have waited to get this bomber, but getting it out early forces the fighter, and I quite like him building a fighter here because he has no tanks. He won't be able to afford a tank and a fighter because he only has 23k. So it kind of forces the fighter, and it means that his units that he's actually going to be able to fight with are just rubbish, which is why I keep pushing this fight here. I leave this tank up here. Last turn I killed this tank with it, so in retrospect, pretty bad trade. Don't recommend. But the main reason I did it is because I wanted to keep this medium tank up in the north. I don't want it to be in the fight. I don't want it to be in the brawl. And I really don't want it to come south and start pressuring my HQ. So yeah, he flobs a loogie here and hits this for 8, which is pretty strong. Misses the luck roll, but the other guy's going to clean it up here. Just give that away. I mean, I do want charge, but I'm not sure that was worth it. Ultimately, it ends up paying off, losing that tank. So I think in the long run, arguably was the correct play, but it looks silly. It's just dubious at best, really. I don't think it was the best position for that tank, but whatever. I guess it's because I wanted to really clean up units in the north. Look at his unit count up here. He's got 4 units on his weak side. I mean, I've only got 4 as well. But look where my units are positioned in comparison. I'm actually threatening his HQ, kind of, and he hasn't got much up here, whereas I'm under no pressure in my south. So here's the fighter, of course. The fighter triple infantry, I mean, it's pretty good for him, you know. He hasn't base skipped once, so you got to give him that. He's played really well as well. This has been an exceptionally good game. I looked at Boeg's profile before the fight, and man, you know, it's a strong player, really good, very formidable opponent. So I took this game seriously. Get the cap here, kill the artillery, antillery. There we go. Pick up the helicopter as well. So that's good. Kill both helicopters. Now I've got air superiority, obviously, until this fighter gets involved. But get that infantry, and we get a nice shot off on the tank here. So I know I'm going to lose this. It's 100% dead, but again, I just want charge. This helicopter is going to probably die anyway when he uses his Winter Fury, because it's not going to be able to run away, and he can just bring this anti-air up here and then pressure, because this will only have 4 move. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so it can hit it. I think it's 3 move actually, it halves the move in the snow. So I'm just getting defensive with the medium tank. His whole job is to just sit there. That's a good roll. Eagle battlecopters with a comm tower. Very nice. And again, I'm just preparing for the Winter Fury here. I know it's coming in, so I just want to get nice and cozy, get everyone indoors. You know, get the store up for the winter. Unfortunate timing with this bomber. Like I say, I think I maybe built the bomber too early, but I kind of do want to keep forcing him to build big units in response. Because I mean, I'm absolutely decimating him in the middle here, and I'm not giving these any value. This Neo tank can't hit anything, this medium tank can't hit anything. So we get the artillery. And I think this artillery is coming south here, because when I look at this game from my perspective, I think the only way he can win here is if he forces pressure on my HQ without doing too much damage to me, without giving me my lightning strike. So I'm like, well, I want to build cheap blocking units and artillery and bring them south just to defend the base as the game goes on. And bang, we get slapped. Yeah, he dies, that dies. This medium tank comes down and claps that guy. This tank dies as well. I mean, it's a good power. Winter Fury is just so strong. And it looks cool as well. I really like this snow effect, especially on the replay viewer. It looks really nice. So he goes for the anti-air helicopter double infantry. And this is it. This is where he starts getting really aggressive in the south. I know exactly what he's doing now. So he's essentially just consolidating his units in the south, getting ready to push my HQ. He's, you know, he wants to cap this. He's got 3 infantry, 2 in range, 3 next to it. So, you know, it's pretty obvious from my perspective. This infantry's dead, unfortunately. I remember being quite sad about that. I don't think he can get out. Look at that, 1 move. So sad. That's the snow for you. This helicopter gets a... yeah, this is an interesting move that I made as well. So it's kind of like completely nonsensical when you look at it, but the reason I do it is because I want to bait this fighter in and then get a free shot off here with the anti-air, and then my bomber's free to just like go crazy. And he doesn't fall for it, unfortunately. But that's good, because then I just get free damage on his infantry, which I'm fine with. So yeah, I just want to start getting ready to defend my base here. And the bomber comes back a bit. I mean, look at this. So sad. 3 move bomber. God. Just having a terrible time. And we might even get this. Obviously he can kill this, but we might get it. Especially with this artillery and support. He goes for this building. So I've only owned this for like 3 or 4 turns. It's been good, but not great. And yeah, he starts moving in, and he doesn't go for the helicopter here. Instead, he goes for the positional fighter, which I think is fine. It's away from this anti-air, so it can't really get shot down, and it's just zoning out everything in this area. So my air units are going to be useless, but I'm probably trading that and taking a fight now if I'm him as Olaf, because he has his power ready to build again. he can just keep winter furying me. Whereas I have to be really sparing with my lightning strikes. I don't think I've ever seen an eagle get 3 lightning strikes off in a game, so... And he leaves this position open for me, so I get 3 repairs here. And I'm just getting ready to cap this turn. Bring this bomber up, just to add a bit of pressure. Like, yeah, sure, you can hit this guy. Yeah, sure, you can move forward. You can try and cap, but I've got the bomber. Here we go, he's going for the lab. It's the most important. It's the most important building on the map, of course. So yeah, just healing up really. Getting 2 HP back per turn. Again, offering the trade here. I'm like, you know, you can hit the helicopter, but I've got this anti-air ready to slap you if you do, so not worth. And then we get the recon, and the recon looks like a bit of a troll build, but it fits into my build order here, and it's an extra vehicle that can move really far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it can really just rip it down here and get on the front line quickly. And it's going to be really good against killing his infantry. So he gets my building. Sad times. Artillery coming forward. He's building these smaller units, which I think he should have been doing. When he got this medium tank, I think that should have just been a tank chain. But you know, he plays how he wants to. It's part of the fun, isn't it? So yeah, just being a little bit cautious with this. I have no response to this. So you know, if I'm him, this fighter's probably coming down here somewhere and getting really aggressive and just zoning out this entire area. Or coming north and maybe looking to keep this bomber out of the picture, but I also get that he kind of just wants to have it as a threat. So the Neo tank's just slowly creeping forward. Yeah, of course, the recon. Oh, I didn't even count that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, I can really get in there. And here we go. So now I'm threatening this property. And this is what you want to do. It's like, I see you down here. I see what you're doing. And I'm ready for it. But are you ready for this? Like, because he either brings all his units north to stop me from getting this property, or he continues his attack into my base. And I don't think either options are preferable for Olaf at this situation. So me building up that charge earlier and losing those units up here, it works out great for me, because now I'm threatening my superpower, like literally whenever I want. So he has to be really careful with his positioning. Because if I can get charge on my turn by attacking him and then get my superpower off, he's going to have a bad time. So we get healed up, this helicopter comes back just to get topped up. And this bomber as well, as you can see, you probably know what I'm doing here, but I think they forgot the passengers or something. There's no one on that plane. They need an extra 2 HP. So yeah, he's finally got this, and he's going to get this. So it feels bad, but sometimes you do, as Eagle, have to concede for the position. Concede properties. And this comes on to repair, which is a really nice position for this tank. There's nothing I've got here that can threaten this. I still think maybe he could... I don't know, I don't really want to talk about what he could have done, because a lot of my gameplay is trying to force him to do certain things so that I can set up my position. So me saying, oh, he could have done this or that is tough, because I'm the one playing the game, and I kind of tried to make him do certain things. Like I wanted him to build the fighter, of course, you know, and the Neo tank I didn't, but the medium tank, I didn't want it coming south, but it is coming south. But it's meant that he's now like got nothing up here in the north, and I've got this lovely like wall of units across my side of the map. So really going on full on, like, you know, full on Maginot Line here. And I love this position here. And we bring the tank round as well. That's lovely. You can't one-shot this tank, so I was really happy with that. And something worth noting in your games, if you ever play Reaching Xanadu, is your tanks can get up and around here. And we just keep walling off this. I'm just making his expensive units useless. Like, what are these three things doing? If they can't attack in and get a good trade, then, you know, they're kind of just sitting there. And the bomber comes in. Here he comes. Picks up a few more bombs. And the recons getting in position. I do enjoy my recons. I think they're, yeah. Spoke too soon. I do enjoy a recon. And he's building artillery here, which I don't think is great. He's already got 2. Like, I don't think you need another one. I guess he's trying to match my artillery, but I would be building tanks, because you really want to be punching through my walls, which are gonna. I don't have many walls. My walls will be, in effect, infantry, a tank, and probably I'll have to use anti-air as well if it comes down to it. So again, here he's just getting set up to contest this property if I go for it, and then he's essentially just makes a big blob here. And I was quite happy to see this, because he's not getting aggressive. I feel like he's running out of time here. You know, the longer he takes to get in the fight here, the more chance he's giving me to build up good units to counterattack with the lightning strike. And I see the weakness up here, and I'm like, yes, let's go for it. Get me in there, coach. Put me in. Recon blocker, look at that. I mean, no other unit can do that here, and you wouldn't want to risk the anti-air. I mean, there's no air units up here, but the recon's worth so much less than the anti-air, but it can do the exact same thing in this situation, so I'm really happy with the recon build. And then this recon comes south as well, because we just want to start getting stuff down here. I see the threat of this. The bomber comes in. Again, I know that I can play around the fighter quite easily, but I think he needs to be more assertive with it, because I'm not going to just throw my anti-air at him to kill it, necessarily, if he can wall it properly. Whereas here it's just kind of like, you know, it can't hit this bomber, it can't hit this battlecopter, I'm not going to let it hit that. And it's just it's a pretty useless unit. So yeah, just sort of, I got to concede this. And the artillery here as well, I don't love that. I probably should have built a tank here, but it is what it is. I didn't have enough money. I think the tank is much better here though. This artillery is too far away, and then you know, I'm running out of good spaces to put it without it having an effective like area to cover. I guess here's not too bad. 1, 2, 3, or up here, but yeah. So he captures my property, he goes for the trades up here, takes out my inventory, yes. Makes a science tank. And the fighter again is still, you know, doing nothing. I am just hating on this fighter, but I just feel like it was a really bad investment. I think an anti-air, 2 anti-air would have been better than the fighter here, but whatever. I get it, you're against Eagle, you want to have a fighter. So he's just shuffling his wall around essentially. I think this really surprised me, and I remember this game actually took a while, but I came back to this game and I saw that he hadn't moved like at all, and I found that really interesting because I set my units up in a position that I could get my lightning strike this turn if he didn't move them, and I was hoping he wouldn't see it, but I wanted to be in that position so that if he didn't move them I could do that, and he didn't move them, which yeah, I just feel like he stalled too long here. So I got my calculator out and we went for it. So I get this cap. I go for this property at the top, you know, create pressure. Go for this property here as well. And we just start taking fights, you know, this recon, look at it go. And now I want to take tank on tank engagements because they give like pretty good charge, because you take damage back from them. This tank on anti-air, I did the calculations and I could do it as long as I sacrifice a helicopter down here. So boom, the anti-air comes in, one-shots the medium tank. I mean, on its own this attack sucks and I have nothing really to follow up with because I'm Eagle. as you'll see. So the only way I could do this, I think, was to sacrifice the helicopter here. I could have shot here with the tank and here with the tank, but I think it was really dicey as to whether or not I actually got enough charge from it. So I just wanted to secure that with the helicopter sag. So the tank comes in, bang, artillery dead. That tank is slabbed. Medium tanks taking out infantry, great. As long as it gets you to where you need to go, then that's the path you should take. Wise words. Helicopter comes up, and I'm just getting ready up here. What I want to do with this helicopter is block this tile here, because then he can't reinforce across this road. The helicopter's in the way, and he doesn't have an anti-air. So the tank would have to come the long way around. So it's just an interesting thing to point out. If you play this map, a helicopter on this tile is great if you can support it. Or, just to lock them out of the game, essentially. And here we're just moving the artillery up into position, getting a nice angle on this medium tank. And then bang, lightning strike. And I get the APC here as well because it's a pressure APC. It's not disrespectful APC, that's for sure. I wanted to have something that I can hide my infantry in to protect them from Olaf's ultimate, his super storm or whatever it is, Winter Fury. But also it allows me to put pressure on his HQ sooner. And then boom, the bomber comes in and picks up the Neo as well. So, those two heavy units that he had in the south that did pretty much nothing all game have been killed by a single bomber. And what's even better is, as long as I kill his anti-air and his fighter, this bomber's going to get away with it. And this is the beauty of Eagle. If you give the space, then this will happen. So we get some nice shots off down here. Kill his tank. Kill his artillery. Yeah, it was a tank. Yeah, kill the helicopter. Bang. Oh god, this was savage. I remember I felt terrible after this turn. When you feel like you've maybe you're a bit too harsh, sort of thing. But this is war, so you gotta let them know. This was about 1,100, 1,050 sort of elo as well. I think this was like my 12th game, 12 to 15. So I was feeling pretty good. This is like my mid-career. I've only played about 40 games, but this is a really good game for me, and a really fun one as well, because I had to do some pretty wonky stuff to lock this one in. But yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of coming back from this. That's my turn done, essentially. This helicopter's going to come in, and this one will probably do something as well. I mean, look at that, 62,000, and I'm at 200,000. So an absolutely smashing turn for me. And I was going to say, why have I base skipped there? But of course I built to move. And yeah, so I just show that because I remember talking to Prometheus about this. We were talking about most disgusting Eagle ultimates, and this is mine, dude. 220,000. And then by the end of his turn, 61. So, oh man, that's like, that's a rug pull in the world of stonks. Man, that feels bad. But yeah, he kind of comes in with Winter Fury, and this is the last turn. Obviously, it just does a lot of damage, doesn't it? It's a scary power. But there's not a lot he can do here now. I'm threatening 2 cabs. I've got loads of units down here in the south, and yeah, there's not a lot he can do to retaliate to that one. So he goes for some cleanups, as I think anyone should do, and then he resigns here. So really fun game. I found mechanically that was a really interesting game, just in terms of how I was almost forced to sacrifice units in the north, just so that I could guarantee that I wouldn't lose. So the threat of Eagle's superpower is just too strong. And Olaf is great over time, but I just don't think he ever positioned himself to be able to threaten me And that's, you know, he's, like I say, he's a really good player. He didn't make any mistakes, but I think maybe he was just a bit too passive. He should have forced my hand a bit more. Maybe if he had fought earlier on, he would have, like on day 19, I'll show you. Let's go look at that now. Yeah, I think if he had fought, like, if he had started, like, forcing fights around here, you know, he gives me my the charge, great, but that's fine because it's just going to prolong the game. Because as long as my ultimate doesn't win me the game, then he's good. I think that's the way you have to look at it against Eagle. Like, you can't give Eagle a game-winning turn. You have to really, like, accept the fact that the lightning strike's going to be disgusting, but then also let it happen in the most suboptimal way for your opponent. So I think he should have probably given me my lightning strike a bit earlier on, maybe around now, and it would have dragged the game on. And with the game dragging on, and proper walling at the bottom here, he definitely would have had the win. So just an interesting retrospective perspective. But here's that turn. So just man, just cut through this entire blob. Bang. Oh, let's look at it again. All right, yeah, sorry Boeg. Really good game, thanks for that. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'll just get the stats up again. Not a lot to talk about really, funds were pretty even. Obviously I did more kills in the end, but that's just because I had such a good day 23. But that's about it, yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I appreciate it's probably going to be quite a long video. I don't know how good it was. I've never done one of these before, but hopefully you can tolerate my voice for an hour or whatever it's been. And maybe I'll do a couple more. If anyone sees this in the Advanced Force by Web community and wants to have a casual game with me, or even submit a replay, and I'll have a look at it and maybe do a video on it if it's fun and interesting. But yeah, just, you know, get in touch and good luck out there. Cheers, guys.